covering the stories that impact your life, your town, your state, and your future. This is the Means Report with your host, Brad Means.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Means Report. We certainly appreciate you spending part of your day with us, where we have yet another exciting edition of the Means Report. We're going to lead off today by celebrating startups. If you've ever wondered how somebody can go into business for themselves or monetize an idea, we're going to find out when we talk to our first guest today. Also, high-tech transit. This is ripped straight from the headlines. Augusta's city buses are getting so modernized by the day, it seems. We'll check in with the Deputy Director of Transit for our great city. And as always, we'll wrap up the Means Report with ways that you can stay in touch with us. It's easy. You can help us get more great guests, like our first one. He is no stranger to many of you. He is Eric Parker. Eric, along with Grace Belanja, you may remember, brought us The Clubhouse back in 2012. Eric's also behind Make Startups. We'll talk about what those things do, but first of all, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Brad, thanks for having me today. I'm excited to talk about this.
Me too. And I am so curious about how somebody can get a business off the ground. So let's just start with a super general question about entrepreneurs. How are they doing in Augusta right now? Is this a good time and good climate for an entrepreneur?
Yeah, things are getting a lot better for entrepreneurs in the city. When we started our work for the Clubhouse in 2012, I think when we would talk about entrepreneurship and startups, people would just look at us funny because, ultimately we're a town that's really built on some large institutional things like
Right.
Fort Gordon and the medical college and Savannah River site. And so why take the risk and start your own business? But these days we have over 3,000 people trying to start a business in the CSRA every single year.
All right, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm pretty familiar with the Clubhouse. A lot of folks watching probably are. What about Make Startups? Is that another entity that helps support startups and entrepreneurs and kind of gives them the make sure that climate is perfect for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So Make Startups was really born out of a lot of the early work that we were doing in the Clubhouse around research in entrepreneur support and investment practices and how to do it better. So we launched Make Startups as a nonprofit research institute to help startups not just in Augusta but around the country. And so we provide a software product called Co-Founder OS. We work with organizations literally nationwide to advance their entrepreneur support programs.
Speaking of nationwide, a summit is on its way to Augusta. It's November 4th through 7th. It's the Startup Champions Network Fall Summit. What's going to happen at that thing, and can anybody attend? It sounds like it's going to be fascinating.
Yeah, no. So I think most people would be surprised that Augusta has become an epicenter for thought leadership in the world of entrepreneur support and investing. And the Startup Champions Network is an organization that began out of the Startup America movement back in the 2010 era. And it's basically an organization of people like me at the Clubhouse around America that help startups in their community. So we have all of them converging in Augusta, November 4th through the 7th, so that they can learn about our ecosystem and take those practices back to their community. And we have over 40 speakers that are giving talks about how to do this work better.
Can anyone go?
Yeah, absolutely. We even created one-day passes for people in our community. So depending on which day seems to match their interest in the agenda, the first day of the conference on Wednesday is really centered around like a full-blown conference. There's going to be 25, 30 talks, but then day 2 is going to be like a miniature TEDx event at the Imperial Theater. And then on the final day, that's our policy day, where we even have our congressman coming to give a presentation.
What's an ecosystem?
So an ecosystem is all of the people and resources within a community that make it possible for entrepreneurs to thrive, much like you would see any animal thrive in its natural ecosystem.
Is an entrepreneur, and this is a hard question to ask, we could spend the whole show on it, somebody who has an idea and just tries to turn that into a business, or is it someone who just says, I'm going to use an idea that's already out there and try to make it my business?
It can be either one of those.
Yeah.
So, I would say an entrepreneur is the precursor to someone who becomes a business owner once they are successful. And we always talk about startups themselves as ideas in search of a functioning business model so that the entrepreneur can support themselves. And that's the primary thing that we do as an organization, is we help people who either have an idea and are trying to figure out that business model, or they started and it's not quite working. And so how do we help them get over the hump so that they can create a job for themselves and other people in our community?
How does it work? Does somebody knock on your door at the clubhouse or Make Startups and say, can you please help me turn this idea into a business I can do each day? Or do they need to be more prepared than that before they come to you?
Yeah, it works in both ways. We've historically, we've had over 2,000 people that we've helped start a business in the CSRA, and a lot of them will come to a workshop or a lunch and learn or something like that we have, and they're curious and we have some initial conversations. But what we've been able to do through Make Startups is build an AI platform that allows us to take a lot of this early work and conversation that we do with people and help them through that on demand, so that you don't have to come down to the clubhouse necessarily anymore. You can get a lot of the preliminary feedback real time, in your pajamas at 11 p.m. at night when you're off from work and you've got the kids in bed and you're trying to figure out, how do I take this to the next level?
I don't want to be negative, but do you ever say, hey, thanks for coming down, that will never work, have a great day?
Strangely, I don't think there's a bad idea.
Right, I'm the same way.
I've seen literally everything at this point, and it comes down to whether you as an entrepreneur are going to take the time to get to know your customer and how you meet their needs with your idea, as much as just having an idea about something.
I loved what we were talking about before we started taping today, and that is how entrepreneurship can be a means to an end when it comes to escaping poverty. Eric, we do too many stories on Channel 6 about the problems with poverty in this community. Tell me how starting a business can kind of turn on the light for someone's dark situation.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that got me motivated for the work that we do is that our poverty rates in our community are twice the national average, and I really wanted to find a way to move the needle forward on that. And through all of our work, what we've found is, on average, a business owner will create 4 additional jobs in the community. So what we've done is we've aligned entrepreneur support with workforce development so that they can actually get financial assistance through WorkSource Georgia when they apply into an entrepreneur support program, so that they're getting that level of support while they start a business. And we created a credentialing program to help them get access to capital. We are not going to guarantee that people get capital for their business by any stretch, because the main thing that we do and what we've been able to prove is within 90 days, 80% of our graduates are generating revenues for their business.
Wow. When the money is available, does it come from? Is it largely state, as you mentioned? Does the federal government support our startups? And are there private investors out there that say, hey, if you give me a percentage back down the road, I'll support you?
Yeah, there's a little bit of each one of those pots. And I think that's the hardest part for startups, is understanding how to navigate that. And that's where the clubhouse comes in handy for everybody, because every company is going to be completely unique, and what you need is going to vary. And so we don't have formalized investment funds in the CSRA for venture capital, but we do have people that make individual investments, and we can help make some of those connections and help connect you to broader ecosystems around the country.
If I'm hearing you correctly, and there's a would-be business owner watching right now, are you basically saying, don't be fearful, stop waiting, the help is here, and they should just take that leap?
No, absolutely. But when you take the leap, make sure that you have a support system around you, because you are taking probably the biggest financial risk of your life, and you have to take it seriously. And there's organizations like ours that are really here dedicated to making sure that you don't.
Is there a hot area that people should pursue right now, a sector of the economy where our chances of success would be the highest?
Really, whatever they have the most expertise in is the most critical area. As a community, we're obviously pushing cybersecurity, we're pushing energy-related things, we're pushing medical innovation, and those are the areas where if you want to do venture-backed startup where there's probably going to be the most activity for you. But we have entrepreneurs that make custom t-shirts. We have entrepreneurs that make candles. It runs the gamut of literally everything.
Are the movies and the TV shows true and accurate? Like Shark Tank, is it like that?
We always refer to it as the dolphin tank because we try to build a culture that's a lot more supportive.
Right, don't be mean.
Yeah, there's really not much purpose in that. So yeah, in this community, I don't think that that's a place where you have to take your head related to it. There's a lot of support, and you just have to have the courage to step into it and really stop asking for permission on what you want to do with your life and your future. And like entrepreneurship, like entrepreneurs are the people who just say, I'm going to do this, and you have to have that mentality.
Are most entrepreneurs, and should most entrepreneurs have a brick and mortar building to go to each day to sell their stuff, or is it all drifting online, or should you do like 50-50 of each?
Yeah, it'll depend on each business, but one of the first things we do with entrepreneurs is we go through a market sizing activity, and you quickly realize that if you want to survive in today's market, you have to sell beyond the borders of the CSRA.
Are you optimistic, probably my last question, are you optimistic about the future for small business owners, for entrepreneurs to make their ideas flourish, where the sky's the limit for them?
I think it's the only future.
Yeah.
I think that the foundation of our country itself is built on the idea of economic freedom, and entrepreneurship itself is the best pathway there. And so when we see a government that's cutting back in a lot of different ways, we have to start thinking, how do we take care of ourselves? And entrepreneurship is one of the most important ways we can do that.
Boy, it sure is. Well, I know the summit, the Startup Champions Network Fall Summit, November 4th through 7th, is going to be a huge success. I hope people who are watching make a point of attending, and I just thank you for what you're doing for our community. I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Eric Parker of the Clubhouse and Make Startups, our special guest today. When we come back, what is happening with our city buses? Even if you've never ridden one, you'll want to find out, because they're really looking into the future and going super high tech. On the Means Report.